All right, so welcome back. In this session, we are going to be talking about arrays. So the arrays we use array to keep multiple elements of the same type, and basically there's a number of ways to creating an array. So let's say for instance, and the basic syntax is you put the type, the data type, and then you have a square bracket like this to signify the array, and you have the variable name, right? So this is a simple way of declaring an array like that. So this type could be like, say, integer, string, double, whatever type that are going to be within the array. So you're gonna have them declare like that. So for example, you have type, and then you can have equals to this one here becomes the elements of the array. So you have the type, the square bracket, the variable name, and then you have this one. This is the basic syntax of the array. So this is the basic syntax for a basic declaration of it. So we'll see other ways of declaring an array. So for instance, let's say we have a string. Here we have strings, which is the type in this case, and we have the square brackets, and then here we have names. So in these names, we have, let's say we just open the name immediately, and we're assigning the values of that arrays, the names that belong in that array. So let's say I have Kenny, I have Daniel, let's say I have an Alex, let's say I have Bart, then let's say I have a Carlton. Yeah, so just to name a few, just example. So let's say we have something like this, and then so what we've done here is that we declare an array name, and then we just assign values to it like this. I can also declare it like this. Let's say I have another array string, let's say it's also strings, and then let's say language or country, and then here I just say equals to new string, new string, and then I assign the size of the array. Let's say I'm assigning the size of the array of the countries I want to declare. Let's say 5 countries. So I just declare the size of the array ahead, so I create a whole. I've not actually assigned any country yet. So but in this case I did not um as declare the size of my array. I just created the array variable and assigned values to it. So in this case we have 1 2 3 4 5 size, 5 memory would, or 5 size. This array would automatically be set to 5. I could also have something like this. Let's say a string, and then let's say choice of language, and then here in this choice of language, let's say I have a new string, and then I'm saying there are going to be 4 languages. Choice of language is one word, 4 choices, and then right immediately I'm assigning to it. So here I'm assigning to those variables. Like I'm saying that, yeah, we have Java, then we have let's say a PHP, then C sharp, then JavaScript. So as you see, this is another forms of you declaring it. So I have something like this here. I just name the variable and assign the values straight on. here I just declare the variable and I specify the size of the array without the value yet. And then here I specify the size of the array, and then I put this one. So this one here, you can see that it was originally red, and as I was typing until it got is 4, because I've specified that it's 4. So it's not going to take anything less, it's not going to take anything more. So if I go ahead now, I'm trying to assign more to this, it's going to be a problem. So let's say here I'm going to assign a language, C++. Now I'm going out of band, because you have declared that the size is 4. Now I'm assigning values of 5. Where this is going to be living, there's no space for it. So if you look at the error, it says an array initialized of 4 is expected. So you said it's 4. Now you're assigning 5 values. This is going to be an error. So if you want to actually be disciplined and then ensure that there's no room for error, and of course it's not going to you actually compile. So you can declare your variable, the size of your array, and then before so whichever way you can have this declare like this. So this is a bit of some of the declaration. But now, how do you access the values that you have within the array? So for an array, this one here the first element represents is of index 0, and this one is of index 1, this is of index 2, of index 3, of index 4. But that does not say that the size of this array is 4. No, the size of this array is 5. But index starts from 0 and then start incrementally that way. So the same way with this as well. So this one here is going to be 0, this is 1, this is 2, and then this is 3. Let's see that. So if I say I use a console dot write line, so console dot write line, and I'm assessing names. So I say names, I put the index. So to access the first element, you just use a square bracket like this, and then you put the index number. So if you put 0 now, you expected to see the first one. If you put 1, you expected the second one, because the index, as far as this is concerned, is this is going to be 1. So if you have this run, if you run this now, you'd realize that we have, see what we got. So we saw Kenny as the first guy on the index 0. Then if I say 3, then I'm going to get, so if I say 3, I got Bat. Okay, now there's a lot of utilities that are available within the array. First of all, if I want to get the length of an array, you use length. To get the length of an array, you just use the array dot length. The array dot length, that's in this case name dot length will give me the what's it called, the length. So here, if I use this names dot length, it will give me the total length of the array. So, and I expect it to be 1 2 3 4 5. I expect it to be 5. So if you run that, you would see that we have 5 as the length of the array. Then I may also, before accessing this, I may want to also sort. You want to sort an array. To sort an array or do other utilities, you use array dot. Then when you use dot, you can see copy, empty, clear, and all of those things. So when you use clear, you want to clear the array. So you can just look through. You can mouse through each of these, and you see the explanation of them there as you go over each of them to see how the explanation of them and how you could actually use them. So let's say what I want to use is really sort like this. So if I sort, then in the sorts, I'm going to put the array that I'm sorting. So this would automatically sort it alphabetically. It's going to sort that array alphabetically. So Kenny is no longer be in 1. He's not going to longer be the first person, because if this is sorted, this is going to be A is expected to be on index 0, and then B follows, C follows, D follows, and then E follows, like that. So if we try to access index names at index zeros, now we would see that we're seeing something different. So what we saw there, he is now Alex, which is now occupying position 1 after the sorted array. So that's a bit of something to know. And then you can also copy one array to another. You can clone one array to another. You understand? So for instance, now this element, this choice of language is of size 4, right? So let's say I have a new let's say string, and I have this one. I call it lang. So and I declare it to be now. Yeah, so let's say I declare it to be of size new string, and of size, let's say of size 3. So I want you to actually see something. So let's say I declare this to be of size 3. Okay, now what I want to do is to copy the values within the choice of language into this language. So you're going to see that it will throw up an error. Let's see first before I explain that. So I want to copy all the values within this array into this array. So if you do this, so let's say we say this choice of language dot copy to. So you can see there is this utility copy to. So if you say copy to, in the copy to text to, it has 3 overloads actually, method overloads. So it takes the first one of it takes the first parameter to be the array you're copying to, the new array you're copying to. So let's say I'm copying it into lang, right? And then at what index do you want to start copying? At what index do you want to start copying? So let's say I want to start copying from index 0. I want to start copying from index 0, copying into lang, right? So if we do that, and then let's say we want to then access what we have in the lang. So let's say we have console dot write line, and we have the where, let's say we have this what we've copied to now. So let's say lang at index 2. Okay, now what you're doing here is you're copying all the values from here to here, and don't forget that this one is of size 3 and this one is of size 4. So if you run this, so you can see an error. So it threw an exception. So it says that the destination array was not long enough. The destination array is not long enough. The size is 3 and you want to copy something that is of 4. So this is not going to be it's not going to be possible, right? So we have that. Then I hope that is noted. So let's say that the size of this is 5, for instance. If the size of this is 5, so it has a room to accommodate and even XX. So if you do this and then run now, so you can see that is now you have C#, which is now the at that index and all of that, so it runs. So this is a bit of that. Then the next thing I want to, let's say we have we want to assign values. We've declared this country, and we've not assigned any value to it. We don't want to assign like this, so we can say that country, country is an array. So we say country at index 0 is equals to Nigeria. is equals to Nigeria. Country at index 1 is equals to Ghana. Country at index 2 is equals to Uganda. Country at index 3 is equals to let's say Zambia. All right. So now this is another way of assignment. This is individual assignment, so manually assigning to each of these locations, so like that. And the same way is how we can change the values in a particular location. So if I want to change the value in names, I can always change this this variable, this value here to any value. So any value that I assign here takes that location, that index location, right? So this is another way of assigning values to your arrays. Okay, so if you log this, so let's say you come down and do some sort of login. So you have console.writeline country at index 2. So if you have this and have that published, so you have the Uganda, so you can see the Uganda there, right? So pretty much you can see that. So we've done declaration, we've done some sort of assignment, we've done cloning a copy, the same way you can clone, and we know how the size work. Okay, so let's see how we can loop through, looping through an array. So if you want to loop, we just did a loop. So you want to loop through it, you can use your basic for. So we use a basic for. So let's say for int I equals to 0, then I less than, let's say I want to loop through, I want to echo out all the elements within this language, this choice of language. So I say choice of language dot length. That's the second statement. Then I say I plus plus. Okay, so there, what I want to do within it will just be to console write line choice of language at index. So I'm just gonna have this at the index like that, and then we have this. So once we have this, we run it. So we can see all the language getting echoed out. We have the Java, PHP, C#, JavaScript, and all of that. So this is a way of looping using the loop that you already know, but there is a loop that is specifically exclusive for arrays, and that is for each. So I can use for each loop. So if you do this for each now, so let's say I say for each name. To use for each statement, you're gonna have this one here. It's going to be variable name, in array. This is the syntax, and then you do what you want to do here. So you declare your variable name in that you use an keyword, and then the array that you want to loop through. Then this one you don't need to be using this index, and which is pretty not which is not so clean, right? So let's see the example. Let's say here I say for each string name in names. Remember that I have an array called names here, these names here. Okay, so I just simply say console dot write line, then I have name, console dot write line name, right? So that is taken. So let me just have this. So we have that like this, so we can have some sort of demarcator. I want to see this one distinct from this. All right, so if we run this now, all things being equal, you got around, and then we can see the names down here. So you can see that this is pretty clean. This is pretty clean like that. So, and you can always use that. Then if you use your array, this array, there's equally an undo there where you have array dot for each. So here when you do, you can see find to use to find a particular a particular element within the array. Find all element that matches the condition. You know, find index, you're looking for an index. Find last number, find last index for each. You understand? So it was pretty much like this, but it's not like that. So here when you do this, the when you use for each, then you put the type of the array that you want to loop through. You understand? You put the array as the first element, and then you put the actions that you want to perform. Okay, so you see us using it a whole lot, you know, going forward. Okay, so for instance here, let's say the array here is names. You know, that's the first thing, and the second thing now is the action that you want to perform. You know, so you've declared this, and then you want to do, maybe, let's say, something with each of these. You understand? So you can perform something within it like that. So let's do away with that for now, and let's keep it easy and simple. Okay, so there is an interesting thing that would expand your, you know, the scope of array, that will make it a lot more, you know, even interesting. So there's this, if you use this using system.link, which you see us using a lot in .NET for our query. Now the moment you do this, or before you do this, let me say before we do this, let's say we've got some, let's say we have some integer and then hint wages, array of wages, and then here we have, say we have 1,000, 4,000, 3,000, 6,000, 2,000, 9,000, 7,000. You know, this is an array of, you know, wages. Let's say we have something like this. Now, how do you get the maximum? Like, I want to know the maximum wage here. How do you sum all of them? Let's say you want to sum all the elements within the array, you know, like that. You know, natively is not available. So if you say wages, for instance, you are trying to say max to see if you can get the maximum, or you say minimum, or you try to say sum, it's not available. But this is available within the link namespace. So if you import link, So if you import link now, you have using system dot link. If you import this, then look at that, you can have wages dot, you know, sum. Now you can see sum is now available, wages dot, you know, max is now available. The maximum, to know which one is max, you want to know the mode, you know, dot average. You can find average, you can, you know, find what's available, but you can also, you have this in first or default to get the first element, default first or default, or the first or default element. You know, that would, you know, have you increase the scope of array manipulation. And so one thing that you must have noted here is that array have actually a fixed memory size. So there is this thing that we call array dot resize. Actually, you know, what I'm saying is that once you declare the size of an array like this, you know, it's fixed. It's even if you are not assigning values to a location. That, like in this case now, we said our country will be 5, but here we have 1 2 3 4. So what happens to the fifth location? Nothing. It has no content, and it's going to be an whole, you know. So if what you say, what you want to actually declare a dynamic size such that, you know, it increases based on how value is getting added to the array, your go-to would be a list. It will be a list. It's going to be a list, not an array. You know, array has a fixed size. And then this guy here, when you see array.resize, you would think that it's going to help you resize the array. No, what it actually does, that looks as if it's resizing the array, is copies the array. So the original array will be there, and then copy it into a new array with the new length. You understand? So the original one will still be there, and then second one is created with a new length. So this is pretty not, you know, is pretty not it. Okay, is pretty not it, right? So this is a bit of the array, and note that what we've been talking about is single dimensional array so far. All right, so we'll explore more as we move on.